Well, I mean, in Richardson, I think we've got one of the form players at the moment. He had back-to-back semi-final appearances in the Players' Championship at the start of August. In PC12, he beat James Richardson, who we've just seen 6-0. He beat Roby John Rodriguez and Simon Whitlock as well, en route to the last four. And then he had another run to the semis the day after in PC13 when he eventually fell at the hands of Benito van der Pas. So, of the qualifiers, he's certainly one of the most informed players. And of the qualifiers, Hamilton, on the flip side, is arguably the one with the greatest pedigree, given his past achievements. But they are very much in the past.
Yeah, it's interesting to see that these guys are on different sort of paths at the moment.
Ladies and gentlemen, first leg is Andy to throw first. Game on.
As Paul Hinks gets us underway, and Andy Hamilton has the throw in the Premier League. Andy's done very well in the Premier League in the past and the World Championships, some of the biggest events in the world. What's really interesting for me is that Andy Hamilton has been with the same equipment manufacturer for many, many years.
78.
And recently there has been a change. And you just think that sometimes that might be the little thing that gets your spark going. James Wilson has been using the same kit for many years, same type of dart, always had a white flight, but he's been very, very dangerous recently.
140.
And when he gets going, he is a thunderous scorer. He really is. He's had a problem in the past with the way his darts slap into the board, and some of them can fall out, but I think he's rectified that, and he's got more darts in the board, scoring heavier, and his results do
89.
reflect very good form.
Andy Hamilton's yet to win on the European Tour this year, by the way. He's not had a great run of form as far as qualifying is concerned. He made it to Gibraltar and the European Darts Open in Dusseldorf last time out, but lost
100.
in the first round in both of those. Beaten by Johnny Clayton 6-3 in the opener in Dusseldorf at the end of July. As for James Wilson, had a terrific run at the German Masters over the Easter weekend when he reached the last 16. Made the second round in Hamburg as well, so he's making an impression
39.
on the European Tour stage. There's no doubt about that. And he's the sort of player, once he gets into a bit of a rhythm, as he showed in Barnsley recently, he is very much a force to be reckoned with. Maybe an outside chance of a break of throw here as well for Wilson here.
134.
Especially with a visit like that.
I think it's interesting, if you were to ask both players right now, what would constitute a good run for them? And looking at Andy Hamilton at the moment, I think a good run for him would be to win his first game on stage in the European Tour this season. Whereas James Wilson, because of the confidence that he picked up in the Barnsley Pro Tours about a month ago,
39.
he'll be looking
Change
at
your power,
the withdrawals
127.
possibly, because at the moment he's playing better than Andy Hamilton. And he'll be looking probably beyond this match if he can continue that current form.
Well, he's 67 away, so that leaves Bull, but he's no need to be aggressive. He'll just set this up. That leaves
95.
double 16 for Wilson, so that's sensible play from the 44-year-old from Huddersfield.
Very sensible indeed. And in times gone by, James Wilson would have gone for that bullseye, I guarantee you. And I think what he's done is he's brought his aggression within himself a little bit more. And I think he's starting to play the game a bit smarter.
44.
Because these days, you've got to be very smart.
32.
Well, a visit from Hamilton there of 44, and there's absolutely no pressure on Wilson whatsoever here. I mean, there is an argument
shot on the
as
first
Wilson
leg.
takes out the double
James
16. Had he
Wilson.
gone for the ball and taken it
Second
out,
leg
it
is
would
James to throw
have got the
first.
crowd going. It
Game
might have
on.
just given him a little bit of a G up, but it's the same end product anyway. It's the first leg on the board for Wilson, and it's the early break, and already plenty for Hamilton to think about here. James Wilson's run in Munich included a 6-4 win over Mensur Suljovic. That really caught the eye that weekend, and then he was beaten 6-4 by Michael
96.
Smith. So a chance for Smith and Wilson to meet again, perhaps this weekend, but still plenty of darts to be played here. But Hamilton just doesn't look to have settled at all here. Struggling for big scores, struggling for trebles,
42.
and straying into the three-bed there as well.
Well, Andy's grinding at the moment. We spoke about this in Dusseldorf, where he didn't pick up the win over there. But he's at the stage in his career where he's just looking for something. And it's just these small things that you look for,
26.
a little bit of a confidence boost. It could be something as small as just hitting a 156 checkout or something like that at the right time. And it just hasn't been happening for Andy. I mean, look at the professionalism that he brings to the game. He's still qualifying for these events, which is still something in itself. But he's looking for that form that he had 3 or 4 years ago, just like that.
One over the lane.
Yeah, you can hear the Hamilton fans in the arena here, the Saxon Arena in Riesa. getting behind their man. Just showing glimpses, but Wilson looking to respond in kind with a maximum of his own.
140.
140 it is, though.
I've been watching James Wilson for a few years now, and I think his action's a little slower at the moment. I think he's been a bit more deliberate, and it won't be an accident. It'll be something that he has worked on the practice board. He does work very, very hard, but he always works with a smile on his face. He's a very infectious guy.
83.
Great to be around.
That's the trouble with Hamilton, the consistency we talked about. The 180 followed up by an 83, and Wilson threatening another big score here. Wilson, by the way, took out Mervyn King in the qualifier, so he's already done some hard work to get here. Beat the number 2 seed in qualifying by 6 legs to 4, then thrashed Scott Dale 6-1. As for Hamilton, well, he had to come through 3 rounds of qualifying, so he's done it the hard way as well, and he only dropped 5 legs over the course of those 3 matches against Dean Winstanley, Barry Bates and Billy Holmes.
94.
So again, he built a good head of steam over that weekend.
Yeah, there's a lot of people talking about Billy Holmes at the moment from the south of England. He's got age on his side and ability, so maybe one to watch out for in the future. But at the moment, Andy Hamilton got his number in Barnsley. Today, it looks like James Wilson has got the edge on Hamilton, but it's
Andy
early
Ripar,
stages.
102.
And the kind of confidence boost that Andy Hamilton needs in this match is something like this. This is the kind of shot that he would hit the 60, go for a 10 and a double 16, but he's got to go for the bull now. It's a good thrown dart, really well thrown
62.
dart, but he's going to have to rely on
James
mistakes from
Ripar,
James
80.
Wilson now if he wants to come back for that tops.
So Wilson eyeing a 2 legs to 0 lead here. Perfect first dart, double 10 then for a 2-0 advantage. Hamilton can't bear to watch at the back of the stage, just waiting for the call from Paul Hinks.
Team
And
shot
there
on
it
the
is.
second leg. James Wilson. Third leg is Andy to throw first. Game on.
It's very interesting you say that, because when players are at the back, they're waiting for their opponent to have a shot to check out. Some of the guys look at the board, they look at the referee, the score. I'm a bit like Andy. I always look away and just close your eyes and say,
100.
just don't say game shot. But when you hear it, you just think to yourself, okay, job's not done yet. We've got plenty of miles in this game to go, and we really have in this match. I just get the feeling that James looks a bit more focused and confident at the moment.
100.
He does. That is very evident to see. Hamilton with a steely focus in his eye, but it's not really
59.
doing him any favours at the moment. It's another sub-60 score as well from Hamilton. He's had a few of those today.
It's very difficult for players like Andy Hamilton, who have been at the pinnacle of the sport, making world finals and getting to the thick end of Premier Leagues and Grand Slams like he has in his career. And then when you go through a sticky spell where you're not playing at that level, it's really hard to get it back when it seems like everything's getting in your way. People start playing better. You've got kids coming through who you've never heard of before. The tournaments are getting
83.
bigger. You're actually doing more travelling than you were 7 or 8 years ago, so everything seems to be getting harder. And you've almost got to start from scratch again, which is pretty much where Andy Hamilton is at the moment.
I remember James Wilson really
45.
caught the eye in defeat as well in Mulheim last year at the end of, or in mid-September, around about this time last year actually, in the 7th European Tour event of last year. He was beaten 6-3 by Adrian Lewis, but he gave him all sorts to think about that day. But it was just an occasion for Wilson where he sort of showed some potential, as Hamilton does precisely that with a 180 to get him down to 79. It is on the Hamilton throw this, so no need for Wilson to panic about this too much. Just will be looking to post a bigger score as he can here in case Hamilton slips up, which, let's face it, is not beyond the realms of
95.
possibility.
Andy requires 79.
We do have to echo the fact that Hamilton's got new darts, and he's not Peter Wright. He's been using the same sort of equipment for years, so a slight change is going to be weird. Let's see what's like under pressure.
Oh,
40.
And that's what I'm talking about.
Wow.
When you're under pressure with a new dart in your hand, it feels very, very different.
that was a long way off. I mean, he saw him there holding his nose. Was it that much of a stinker, do you think?
That will be he'll probably be thinking about that for a few minutes, but hopefully he can come back.
Well, he will be back because Wilson hasn't found the big numbers here. It's
60.
just 60 as well from
And he
Wilson,
requires
so
39.
Hamilton has lots of room for manoeuvre here. Will he go 7s for double 16? Yes, he will, only just inside the wire though. Double 16 though for his first leg on the board. That's some way inside the wire as well for double 8s. And he
23.
can't believe it. Wilson has another
James, you
opportunity here.
require 101.
Well, where's he going to look this time? Is he going to look away or look at James's score? He might have a poke at it. If he hits a treble, he does so. Choices 9.
You'd have thought so. For double 16, for James Wilson for a 3-0 lead. And this will hurt Andy Hamilton.
69.
But he survives once
And you
more.
require 16.
So he's got to rectify these missed doubles now, because I get the feeling James Wilson will not miss again.
Very accentuated action, isn't it, from Hamilton as he steps up with the first dart. It's just outside the wire. It's bent the wire. It's a pretty good marker, and so is that. He's still got lots of room there, but he's
Eight
come the other
score.
way, and he's
James, you
overcompensated.
require 32.
And surely, Hamilton has been made to pay the price here. Just shows you, if you hang in there and stick to your guns,
Game shot on the third
it
leg.
pays dividends.
James Wilson.
And it's a
Fourth leg is James to throw
19 dart
first.
break of throw.
Game on.
And that is pretty unforgivable for Andy Hamilton, because he had so many opportunities there to get that leg on the board. And it looks like it's not his day.
That's what he'll be thinking to himself. He's got to put that to the back of his mind, and he's got to reset himself and start again.
60.
And when you get new darts, and we have to bring Peter Wright into this, because he's changed probably more times than I've actually had winning matches
Well,
in my
he
career.
changed mid-match against Cadby in Australia.
That's only the second time.
Oh, sorry,
I've-
in the first round.
Yeah, I've
prior
only
to
seen that twice in
180.
all the time I've been watching darts. But what they say is that you can get your scoring going pretty well, just like we've seen with Andy Hamilton there, but it takes time to get your doubles right, because you're under pressure more when you've got a double shot,
60.
and the proof is in the pudding. You know, we watched Andy Hamilton hit a couple of 180s in this match. He scored pretty solidly, but his doubles are nowhere near where he wants them to be, and it just takes time.
Well,
96.
that was threatening to be more like it from Andy Hamilton, but OK, he's got a little cushion here. Maybe another chance for Hamilton to get a leg on the board here against the Wilson throw, but Wilson putting the pressure back on here with another maximum potentially.
140.
140, but back in contention in this fourth leg now. Hamilton looked to have stolen a march. Can he reapply some pressure here with another big score? Could be the biggest of the lots.
140.
Oh, that'll do. He's down to 85. He has that cushion back restored once again.
Well, scoring-wise, Andy Hamilton looks great for me. I think it's just about getting a bit of confidence under pressure with these new spears. James Wilson at the moment,
57.
he's like
And
cat
you
and headlights. He
require
looks very
85.
focused.
Well, Andy Hamilton was a World Championship finalist as recently as 2012. He was a Premier League semi-finalist that year as well. Yet he's in all sorts of trouble here, especially on the doubles again.
77.
OK, Wilson's on 184. Stranded, you would think, but he clawed his way back into contention in the third leg as Hamilton messed around on the doubles. And Wilson, if he applies some pressure here, may well do the same.
That can't happen again, can it? Surely.
Well, he's got 140 there,
140.
and that will just give
And you
Hamilton
require
something
8.
to think about here. Doesn't want to start chasing around the board, doesn't want to end up in the madhouse. Needs to take this at the first time of asking, hasn't done so. But he will be
Shot on the fourth
breathing
leg.
a big sigh of
Andy
relief there.
Hamilton.
Andy Hamilton
Fifth leg
gets
is
one on the
Andy to
board.
throw first.
Well, he needed a
Game
break
on.
throw, and he's got one. You're back in the match now, Andy. Hold through here. And it's only 3-2. James Wilson will be the one that's starting to think a little bit more. That's a good confidence boost for Andy Hamilton. That his scoring has been very, very good in this match.
81.
I mean, even the slightest change can sometimes make you think about what you're doing. I mean, Andy Hamilton's been throwing golden coloured darts for many, many years, and white stems and black coloured flights. Slightly different aesthetics
80.
can make you do different things. I think the majority of professional dart players out there don't like to change a single thing about what they have. They want everything to be the same. Sometimes you've got to make that small change.
135.
And I like the way that Andy's darts are sitting in the board. There's a lovely upright angle when it hits the 60. It's very inviting when he's in that red bit. Very similar angle to James Wilson, who should hit a 180 here. And does.
180.
Well, there's lots to like about James Wilson today so far. It's a tenacious performance from Wilson. There's some big scoring in the mix as well, and he just looks the more assured player here. Hamilton looks edgy, nervy, almost panicky at times as well.
100.
Well, Rob, I don't know if you've heard about the James Wilson practice game.
I haven't.
Very, very simple.
Does it involve jammy dodgers, by the way?
It doesn't.
If it involves eating biscuits, I'll be brilliant.
I like your joke about the hammer and the biscuits, by the way.
140.
It'll take me a while to forget about that one. That was a good one. But James Wilson has a very simple practice game. 501, just like they play in match play here. You get the game in 15 darts, you win the leg. If you don't, you lose it. That will pretty much sort you
41.
out as to how to play
Change
in these kinds of games.
require
Yeah, and it gets you in the right sort of mindset, and that's exactly what Andy Hamilton could do with right here. James Wilson on the verge of breaking back. Could be the third successive break of throw. Down to 81 here, so, well, he's found the treble 15, so that leaves double 18.
Game shot on the
very
fifth
nicely
leg.
done.
James Wilson.
Why go out in 15 when you can go out in 12?
First. Game on.
No bonuses for getting it in less darts. But he got the job done and he's 4-1 ahead. And that break of throw from Andy Hamilton has been extinguished. We've talked about the withdrawal of Wade and of Van Gerwen now. Two big hitters not going to be here in Risa this weekend. If you look through the draw, some possible dark horses. Robbie Green played brilliantly in the first game. And the way he's been playing recently, you've got to be looking in his direction.
Yeah, I was going to say, I now think, well, I'd be fairly surprised if we didn't have one qualifier in the semi-finals and potentially beyond that as well. I mean, looking at last year's tournament when Benito van der Pas beat Michael van Gerwen, Van der Pas and Michael Smith featured in the final.
95.
Ian White got to the semis. It was a very unusual lineup, shall we say, after the exit of Michael van Gerwen. And it's a much more premature exit this time around from the world number one, who has just had an incredible 2016 so far.
It's the equivalent of
success on the World
51.
Series as well recently in Australia and in Shanghai, of course.
It's the equivalent of someone like Andy Murray or Novak Djokovic, you know, pulling out of a Masters Series
It just
tournament.
gives the rest of the field a great incentive. I mean, there's a big incentive anyway with the rankings and with the prize money and, you know, and the actual habit of winning trophies and winning tournaments as well. But yeah, like you say, it just gives them a great sense of belief, especially for someone like. Actually, it's interesting though, for someone like Ryan Meikle, who's making his European Tour debut this weekend. I spoke to him last night briefly after he arrived. He was on our flight from the UK.
53.
And in his first Players' Championship match, he played Gary Anderson, and he said at the time, he said, "Well, this is what it's about. This is why I, joined the PDC. I want to play against the best." And I mentioned it last night. I said, "Oh, you could have Van Gerwen." He said, "Well, again, same thing. That's what I want to do. I want to play the best in the world, just to see where I'm at." Now, he's been denied that opportunity potentially if he gets through against Michael Rastovitz, but it could just give him the opportunity to enjoy a walkover, and then the prize money will come, and that will make the world of difference to Ryan as well. If he indeed does get through to the third round, it will be £3,500 or so for the quarterfinalist if he gets that far.
You require 87.
There are incentives to be chased here this weekend for the likes of him and others.
That's a wonderful attitude to have. That's a wonderful first start from James Wilson. He's already hit double 18 in this match. What a guide that is. Oh, and he
69.
didn't use it, and he'll be really annoyed with that, because he's thinking, if I'm not going to hit this double 18, at least put it on the top wire, which he's done. But he has got some breathing space.
Yeah, double 9 can be. But look at Hamilton here again, stranded on 2-4-3, finding the treble 1. He's missed the treble 20 again.
24.
And, well, I think he's putting this one to bed as well.
18.
Even if Wilson comes inside for leave himself a score of 9, you still fancy him to take this fifth leg, this sixth leg, I should say. Not a problem though.
James Wilson.
Not a problem whatsoever. It's Andy Hamilton that's got the problems here.
Yeah, it's all too easy for James Wilson at the moment. He is absolutely cruising through this, and you feel he's not really got out of, say, second or third gear. It's just been fairly
97.
comfortable stuff here. Hamilton has just not really given him anything to think about. There was that break back for the 3-1 deficit, but not a problem for Wilson. He overrided that and just came through unscathed.
57.
And it looks as though it will be Wilson who will face Michael Smith once again, as they did in Munich earlier this year.
I think when you boil it down, it's just a case of James Wilson is playing better darts right now than Andy Hamilton. We can talk about the psychology of the sport, and we can also talk about the change in equipment for Andy Hamilton, but at this point in time, in 2016, James Wilson is confident. He's playing better darts. His first dart for me in this match has been very, very good. And if he can build on that, he will become a very big threat in this
140.
tournament.
Well, there we see the averages. Wilson bossing both the overalls and the front nines. And that's where the
100.
damage has been done for Andy Hamilton. You see the stark illustration there. Just one double managed in 9 attempts. That was in that breaker throw, of course, in the fourth leg for a 3-1 deficit.
And of the misses of the other 8 darts, the majority of those were in
100.
one of the legs.
And you require
So he really hasn't had that
170.
many visits to the board in other legs to actually take things out. But he might have an opportunity here. Right smile from Andy, as if to say that's nowhere near. But he can set it up lovely.
94.
And that'll do, because James Wilson, languished on 204, cannot take this out. But it's one of those characteristic 180s. He could leave double 12. So Andy Hamilton is going to come back for a lovely looking 76. These are the shots that he really needs to start taking out,
58.
because it
And
needs to
you
be
require
clean and it needs to be done.
76.
If he can't at the 60, at least hit a big 16 and tops. The 60 he's got.
2 bites at double 8 then.
Game shot on the 7th
And
flag. Andy Hamilton.
The look on Andy Hamilton's face
A flag
really
is
does
changed
tell its
to
own
throw
story. As if to
first.
say,
Game on.
why couldn't I do that earlier?
That's a picture that tells 1,000 words. It won't bother James Wilson because he's still got a 3-leg deficit and he'll want to get rid of this match in this leg and give himself more time to rest for another match later on
140.
in the weekend.
Well, that'll do his front nine average the world of good as well. It was fairly healthy anyway, much healthier than Hamilton's. And he's out of the blocks with a ton 40. A nice 13-14 dart leg here for Wilson, and you fancy that would be that.
100.
Andy's always been known as a good fighter. He's going to have to summon up every single fighting power that he has to win this one here. I bet he's been in the situation before where he's been 5-2 down and 165.
100.
But it would be very impressive if he's ever done it when he's not been on best form. If he was to win this match, it'd be an incredible confidence boost.
$41.
And he strays once more, and Wilson can just press on here and kick on.
You feel he can ton down from here. A simple ton to leave 161. Probably look at the 17s. Oh, he's going to stay there.
60.
The 17 treble would have left 170. Oh, 201's not too bad when your opponent is on 360.
And as errant as Hamilton has been at times in this match as well, so no particular damage done so far here for Wilson, with Hamilton once again
43.
failing to find the big numbers. It's another 40-something score there for Hammer. Not really living up to his nickname, or indeed his pedigree, once again on the European Tour stage.
I was talking about James Wilson's practice regime earlier on. He'll be looking to get this out in 6 darts, because mentally, when you're
60.
talking about the mindset of that game, he'll probably think he'll lose the leg if he doesn't check it in 15 darts. Well,
Yeah, well, he's down to 141. It's the 9-dart finish checkout, isn't it? 141 that we've seen not on the European Tour for some time now. Michael van Gerwen went close in Dusseldorf on 2 occasions to a
100.
perfect leg.
Change should require 141.
yeah, I think the commentary table got the brunt of the frustration, especially on the second attempt from MVG. Let's see if anybody can hit it this weekend. It won't be James Wilson on this occasion. What have you got left here? That's very interesting.
131.
I don't think he likes double 5. I don't think that was done on purpose, because I was looking at the treble 16.
Yeah. But anyway, he's got a bit of a security blanket here anyway, Wilson, with Hamilton on 217. But this time he has found a treble. But once again, the rueful look there tells you he's strayed into the one bedroom
81.
once again.
James should require
Yeah, the
10.
loose darts are dipping for Andy Hamilton. He's going to have to fix that for the next time he comes around, because it looks like It's all over,
shot on
folks.
the match.
James Wilson
James
just played better
Wilson.
than Andy Hamilton on this occasion, and he's a 6-2 victor.
Yeah, he is indeed, and he will go through to face the defending champion Michael Smith in the second round tomorrow. They met in Munich earlier this year. Smith won that one 6-4. But James Wilson milks the applause of the crowd here in Riesa as we bid farewell to the Hammer Andy Hamilton. On stage next, one of the host nation qualifiers up for you. Mike Langendorf came through last night over the course of 3 rounds of qualifying, and he will face the 57-year-old from Leicester, the former firefighter Jim Walker.
James, congratulations. It's working better and better after 2 semi-finals on Pro Tour. Now this first round win against Andy Hamilton. We all know how good he is.
We all know how good Andy Hamilton is, and he hasn't turned up today. I expected a lot more. He's a great guy, brilliant, fantastic player, and I've watched him over the years, and I've always kind of emulate myself on him. He's a really cracking player, so confident. Today, I don't know where he was, he just didn't turn up.
You're playing the defending champion tomorrow, Michael Smith. He's so strong in Germany, you have to be careful.
Yeah, I think last time in Germany he beat me. But this time, it's another day, another time. I'm playing well. I've just got to keep it up and keep going, and hopefully, it'll be mine.
Looking forward to that match. Thank you very much. James Wilson.